This is the 2024 UCLA presidential debate.
All right. Welcome to the second UCLA student government meeting of the year. We will be hosting our very own presidential debate. I'm club advisor Jorge Santos, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator tonight for tonight's event. Tonight, we have a very special guest here to help moderate, former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Our candidates are Daniel Larson, Chang Shi, and Ike Bin-Schmetterling. Each candidate will have the opportunity to give opening speeches.
Before we get into this debate, are there any controversies from your past that you would like to highlight or clarify what happened for the record?
I would.
Sure, you may go, Mr. Larson.
In prior times, I was in contact with an impersonator that was impersonating to be somebody who is now my future wife. And I am now engaged to this person, but there was somebody that was impersonating, and I was manipulated to say numerous of things. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I was manipulated into saying threats, and also manipulated into doing the porn industry, the adult film industry.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Larson, for sharing. You guys are going to be future leaders of UCLA, so we expect might be some controversial issues. And anything in your past is something that we're aware of, now the club's aware of, and yeah, we thank everyone for putting everything on the table. Okay, all right, so now we're going to get into opening speeches. All three candidates will have the opportunity to give a quick opening speech. It can be as short or as long as you want, but we're going to start out with Mr. Chang Shi.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. I would like to please begin my speech by apologizing to Mr. Larson for outburst in today's class. It was very unprofessional of me. It will not happen again. My vision for UVA is a more rigorous academic. You in America don't prioritize studying or grades. You like to party and use drugs, and you have no discipline. You're a spineless octopus here in America. You have no structure, and now you want to vote for a Nazi or a criminal. I don't understand why would you do such thing. I think that the right direction for UCLA is to strong leader, someone who can whip up academic excellency and keep our culture clean and respectful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chi. Moving on, we're going to go to Mr. Daniel Larson. Please unmute, and you can turn your camera on if you want, and give your opening speech.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Larson, and my vision for UCLA is to make stronger academics and to support any race, no matter what country you are from, and to make the campus safer. We want to see everyone succeed, no matter where you are from. We want to see everyone have, we support transgenders, we support the LGBTQ community, we support Black Lives Matter, we support All Lives Matter. We also want to see less security on campus, but we feel like we want to pair up with the local sheriff's department and local police department. We feel like there's a massive amount of manipulation that goes on, in our world, and I want to help limit that. Thank you so much for everyone's votes, and that is my vision, to make UCLA better for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Larson, for sharing your opening speech. And now we're going to move on to our final candidate, Mr. Ike Bin Schmetterling.
Guten afternoon, everyone. My name is Ik bin Schmetterling. I'm the first German man who has ever ran for UCLA class president. I'm here today to prove to you that I am your only choice for class president. I'm strong, I am brave, and I am better than everyone here. And I will destroy Poland. German people are underrepresented in the world and have always dealt with bad playing cards. It is my turn as the future president, commander, and Führer to reinstate German power and show the world that I am not to be fucked. Thank you, and I look forward to ruling all over you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Eichmann, that was a very powerful speech. But now we're going to be jumping into the background. We're going to be talking about everyone's background, and that's going to be our first topic of the night. So starting off with Mr. Daniel Larson, there is some controversy regarding your past. What do you have to say to people who think you are a criminal due to your involvement with getting arrested?
Is my camera working? Check. Okay. The first thing I want to say is I am not a criminal. I have been highly manipulated because I have a disability. I have a learning disability, which I also believe was manipulated, but and I don't really have, but that's beside the point. But I was manipulated every time I went to businesses to run my errands. And I am also currently homeless because of it. Businesses nowadays trespass anybody they want from their business, whether they think it's okay or not. Just because they don't like the way you look, they don't like the way you talk, the clothes you wear, they will ban you from a business, whether you like it or not. And I feel like that is not okay. So, yes, it is true that I do have a criminal background, but it is all very small misdemeanors, and they are petty cases for trespass or false reporting, which I am still in court to prove my innocence.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Just a follow-up question for you. What are your opinions on the negative things that people say about you?
I don't really care what people say about me. People can say whatever they want to say. People can say I'm Hitler. I'm going to be honest. I don't care. I feel like matter of opinion is okay. You have your right to your opinion. My goal is to support as many people as I can, and I know for a fact I can't please everybody.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Larson, for that response. Mr. Chang Ji, recently there have been rumors about your involvement with China. Do you have any connection to the Chinese government?
I am from China. What? You accuse me of being a Chinese spy? For what reason do you have to accuse me of being a spy? I have family connection to government. That is all. My grandfather is a big politician in China. That Is that a crime now in United States? If you are Donald Trump's son, are you a criminal? No. That is all connection that I have.
That's fair, and thank you for answering. That's all we wanted to know.
Yeah, building on top of that response, there was recently an article written by the Chinese club at UCLA, which was a smear campaign against one of our other candidates that also decided to praise you. But moving on to our next question, for
I have
Mr.
no connection to Chinese club or what their publications.
Good to know. Moving on to Mr. Eichmann Schmetterling. What are your plans for Poland, and how is it relevant to UCLA?
I'm very glad you asked this question because many people have asked me before, you talk about Poland a lot. What does it have to do with the school you're at right now? But you have to understand that this is part of my journey. My journey here at UCLA will carry on to my journey when I go back to Germany, okay? How am I to take over Germany and take over Poland if I cannot become president of UCLA first? It is to build my resume, to get people to know my name, to lead people in the right direction, and to ensure that in the future my country prospers and that we crush Poland, that is the roach of my continent. It is full of gypsies, and I think that Poland should be taken over completely, but that is my ultimate plan to rise of power. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eichmann.
Guy keep
Yeah,
talking
so
about
this
Poland.
this is a question for everybody. Tell us about why you think you would make a good student government president here at UCLA.
Let's start off with Mr. Larson.
The reason why I want to run for student government of UCLA is because I would really like to run for the US presidency.
He's eating.
In 2036 or 2040. And I believe that UCLA will help with my campaign.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Mr. Shi.
Yes, I want to be president because Asian students are massively underrepresented and disqualified from many student government body. I think this would be a great example of representation in student organization. I also have no criminal history or any sort of involvement with police. So I am a trustworthy and honest reader. I believe I have great ideas for UCLA.
And Mr. Eichmann.
Yes, I believe that I would be good president for UCLA because when I talk about these things in the little bit when we get to these topics, I have many good plans to improve the quality of life on the UCLA campus and ensure that everyone is having a good time, is doing their job, and contributing to the ultimate goal of being a student here. And that is why I think I would be a good president.
Thank you, Mr. Eichmann. Moving on to our next topic of the night, it's going to be communication. Starting off with Mr. Larson, how do you plan to keep students informed about important information regarding UCLA?
That is a very, very great question. And what I would do if I was student president of UCLA is I would like to create wristbands that anybody can wear where they can hook up their bank account, their debit card or credit card, their choice, where they can use it as like an on-campus access to everything. So when they're in the cafeteria, they can use their wristband to order food, to access like computers or certain schedules for classes. It's all in the wristband.
I have a follow-up question to that. What would happen if that wristband got stolen by a thief? Have you thought that through yet? I'm just curious.
Yes, so you actually have to have like a PIN number. You have to know your actual PIN number. So nobody can just use it without the PIN number.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, you may continue.
And so like all your schedule, all your like access to your dorm, your if you're online students, access to like your online portal, your benefits through the college is all on your wristband. And so it's easy access. And once again, if a wristband gets lost or stolen, since you have your PIN number and student ID that you have to know, you have to contact the administrations, and administrations would be able to mail you or send you wherever you are. It will take normal shipping time, but you can get your wristband sent, like a new one sent out. I believe that that would be super helpful to have all of your information in one place, so you're not carrying around all of your notebooks. It's all on one place on your arm.
That is a very interesting idea, Mr. Larson. Do any of the other candidates agree with this idea, disagree, or do you have any ideas that you think would be better than this?
So I think in regards, I think that Mr. Larson has a very good idea when it comes to the wristband. I think that is a very good idea. But I think an untalked about subject is how people earn their money. How do they get their money when they're in college? Because when you're taking college classes, it is very hard to sometimes make money and be able to pay for things when you have it on your wrist. Right. So I think that a way for us to encourage people to make money would be forced labor. I think that forced labor.
I agree. I see nothing wrong with people who want work having jobs at the university for extra income for people that need it. I see nothing wrong with that. I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I
yes.
agree. My country uses forced labor. It's very effective.
All right, Mr. Santos, are we moving on to Mr. Chang?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So moving on to Mr. Chang Ji, what kind of emergency system would you implement at UCLA to keep students aware of current crises?
Great question, Vivek. Thank you. We're gonna put a big gong in every single dorm room and classroom and university building. So if emergency breakout, student can know ahead of time.
That's a very interesting idea right there. What about any other candidates? What kind of emergency system would you implement at UCLA if you have any ideas?
So I think that there should be an air raid siren. In my country, there are a lot of these that we still use. So if you've ever been to your town and you hear a very loud ringing noise that almost hurts your ears, I think that we should have one in every classroom. I don't think that Chung-Chi's idea about Dongs makes sense because dongs are expensive, but I think that if we put an air raid siren in every classroom, I think that would get everybody's attention during an emergency.
Yeah, maybe it's expensive for your broke country, but not mine.
And Mr. Larson, do you have any opinions on what they said about implementing an emergency system at UCLA?
I believe that we should create a shelter and evacuation plans. I believe that it's more complicated than just like an air raid siren or a evacuation plan, because in reality, we don't know what type of crisis we're going to get into. We don't know what's going to happen if something goes wrong. So we need a plan for every single possible issue that can go wrong.
Mr. Larson, what are some issues that you're going to be prepared for that could go wrong at UCLA?
Tornadoes, fires, earthquakes, tsunamis, terrorist attacks. The apocalypse. Not saying that a zombie apocalypse would happen, but hey, you never know.
Alien invasion.
Alien invasion, right. I mean, in reality, we never know what can happen. So we have to have a plan for almost every type of invasion or every type of situation, whether it's outside, inside, coming from the sky, from the ground.
All right. Thank you for that great opinion, Mr. Larson, about all the potential crisis that we can face here at UCLA. We're going to be moving on to our next topic of the night. It's going to be leadership. There has been a rise of harassment and bullying at UCLA in the last year. What will you do as president to prevent bullying? So this is an open question for anyone to answer. So feel free of the three candidates to unmute your mic and answer.
May I go first?
Yes.
Yes.
What I would do to help bullying on and off campus is, if bullying happens in class, what I would do is I would kick the person from the class for up to 2 days. And what I would do is I would take 50% off the grade. And the person will not be able to get grades for the rest of the class, and only what was accomplished prior in class. So if you get 40 credits, but let's say you get kicked out of that class, then 50% credits would be taken off for the rest of the class, then you might only get like 10 credits. And if it continues, then what would happen is, after 3 times, I think the person should be kicked completely from the university. I believe that we should have a staff or somebody from the university monitor the dorms, like a dorm staff. Same rules, any issues in dorms, they get kicked out of the dorms. I believe that wherever there's a source of an issue, we need to get to the bottom of it, figure out why, and resolve it. Give the chance to resolve the issue. But because of college being so tight with how we got to get stuff done super fast. We don't have all the time in the world, then we have to set up like another meeting outside of the class to discuss like what really happened, why, and get to the bottom of the issue and try to fix it.
I think Mr. Rawson's idea for bullying is not attainable. I think real reason we need to stop bullying inside a class is because it disrupts the learning. It disrespectful to the professors. It does not foster a good learning environment. Bullying outside a classroom, not really professor problem. I think it builds character. It builds discipline. It good for people. People end up weak and a spine risk when they don't get a bullying. You need a good, healthy amount of bullying. Not too much, not too little, just a good amount, and not during class time. Thank you.
Okay. So my idea. So when I was a student in Germany for most of my life before I moved to America, they had this program called the Fighting Club. So essentially, people who were being bullied and the people who were bullies would there was a dedicated area in the auditorium where they would fight. Okay, so anybody who has a problem with each other can go fight in this ring. As much as they want without repercussions from the college, and they can fight and throw punches and can settle this in a civil way, because when it's all about words and people are talking to each other, that is when problems happen. But when fists are flying, that is when people understand and they leave their problems behind. So I would vouch for Fight Club. Thank you.
Thank you for those responses. Then this next question is for Mr. Eichmann. How do you envision improvising the overall student experience here at UCLA?
So when it comes to the student experience, UCLA is one of the best schools in the United States when it comes to dormitories, when it comes to cafeteria. A lot of the things at UCLA are very good as they stand, but one of the things that they lack on at UCLA is the amount of different people that are attending there, and these people tend to intermix, and sometimes they do not all have the same ideals, they do not all have the same beliefs. And so I think that this is important when it comes to diversity in a school such as UCLA, to separate them, put them in different dormitories, different buildings, to make sure that even in relation to the last question that we were talking about, that people are not fighting, and that the social life on UCLA is much better than any other intermixing college in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eichmann. Would any of the other candidates want to respond to something that he just said? He highlighted a lot about a lot of different important issues that UCLA faces, so feel free to unmute to address those.
Yeah, he talked a lot about food in the cafeteria. I think that they need more diversity in the food, especially the meat. We need a more type of meat selection in cafeteria.
I agree.
Specifically, what type of meat are you looking for?
Oh, just a normal type of meat, nothing too crazy. I don't want to get into specification.
I don't want to start a bigger issue, but some people that come to the university would probably like to know, are we talking like horse meat, alligator meat, chicken, beef, pork? Like, can we get like maybe 5 options? Or
Okay,
like
okay. We have a chicken, a beef, pork, octopus, and maybe I don't know, a goose.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I believe that was a eroded question, but I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, Mr. Larson, were you looking for some specific answers on that question? Are there any rumors you've heard or anything?
Nope. I think everything is fine. Thank you.
I
All right,
would
well-
like to go into this a little deeper. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I've heard rumors that Cheng Shi and some of the other students want to bring meat of certain animals that should not be allowed in this country. I think that it is disgusting. Some of the meats that Cheng Shi has previously talked about wanting to put in cafeterias. One of those including dog, which I think is horrible. So that is what I've heard about Cheng Shi, and I'd like to give him a moment to respond to these allegations.
These are racist stereotypes. How dare you? I have no relation to wet market. These are slanderous. I can't believe I have to get up here and say in front of the audience that Chinese people don't eat dog. Not surprising coming from a German man related to Adolf Hitler. And criminal.
Yeah, I think that it is very rude of you to sit here and say that I'm related to Adolf Hitler. That is not true, and whoever told that to you was wrong.
And
Brock
I would
Hunter told me.
also,
Go ahead, Mr. Larson.
I would also like to state that there was a school magazine with my picture on it, and it was saying that I was doing hard drugs, and I don't do hard drugs. So it's clearly putting out misinformation under my name, and I do not like that being public.
Rika have said before, I have no relation to the student club that published this magazine. So, once again, I am being accused of something I did not do. I think Mr. Rosson could sympathize with my current situation because you're in so many squabbles with the police. But you claim you have done nothing wrong, but yet you accuse me.
Would you like to respond, Mr. Larson?
Yes. I mean, he does actually have a point. There is no evidence and no proof to be able to prove right now that Ching Chai is
My
behind,
name is Cheng Chi.
sorry, Cheng Chi, excuse me. Cheng Chi is behind the allegations. There is no proof that I can find at this moment. So everything Cheng Chi is saying is valid.
Thank you, Mr. Rosson.
All right, well, let's circle back to leadership. Mr. Larson, what projects do you plan to implement to improve the lives of students?
That is a very good question. What I would do is, like I said, I support the LGBTQ community. I feel like our school needs to have all gender restrooms. I also feel like we need to have male and female restrooms. We need to have a variety for the variety of our generation. I also support Black Lives Matter. I support no matter what country you're from, Africa, Asia, Madagascar, China, Japan. I support everywhere. And what I want to see at UCLA is everything that it is now, but better, safer, and I want to see people succeed. I want people to be heard. And that's the way it should be.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. And would any of the other candidates like to talk about the projects they would implement as president?
We're going to build a more library on campus for more studying, more academic excellency, and we are going to end Greek life, and we're going to put in a more cultural types of organization, not just the Greek.
Like, would you do China life and Greek life type of thing?
Not just the China Life, the good start. Yes, I believe China Life should come to campus, but no, not just those two. I think we should do all type. Why only a Greek student have a organization? Does anybody even like Greek people? This is the question I'm asking.
I see. I have to agree with Mr. Cheng Xi here. Nobody likes Greek people. But what I want to say is that one of my projects that I was talking about with my constituents was about creating summer camps for UCLA. I think that summer camps would be a fun thing for many of our students of different diversities to attend. Instead of having to go home, let's say that they live across the country. It's very hard for them to go there and then come back. It's expensive. It takes a lot of money for airplane. But if we create camps where people can go for the summer, have fun with their friends, there are free amenities like free bathrooms, free toilets, free showers. I think that it would improve quality of life outside of school time, between summer and the start of the next semester. So that is one of my projects that I like to do for UCLA. Thank you.
Yes, China has a program like this in Tibet. Very successful for Uyghur people. They like the camps.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Shi, how has your experience growing up in Wuhan, China led you to become a good leader?
So many of you know the unfortunate accident that happened in Wuhan a couple years ago. We've had to defend ourselves on international platform for many years about slanderous libel, a lot of unbased claims about bad soup and a racist stereotype about sanitation in China. So I believe being strong advocate for Wuhan and the Hubei province of Zhongguo and all these important parts of my culture, being a strong advocate for the accurate and realistic depictions, it has helped me become a good reader, a good public speaker in face of hate and discrimination, especially coming from a United States. So I believe I'm a good candidate, and I am an honest and clean man with no unfortunate background. I believe anything I say. I don't think that there's any reason why I should not be qualified to be a good leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chi. Would anyone else like to respond to anything Mr. Chi said about his experiences growing up in China?
I would like to ask one thing in regards to Chengxi in Wuhan. So the one question I have is regarding to German articles about the Wuhan incident that happened 3 years ago, there is correlation between your last name and the name of the people who created the virus that was sent from Wuhan. Are you in any connection to this virus that was created in Wuhan, or will you say now that you had no connection for sure?
No,
No connection at all.
no connection. No, I, I, I don't know what you are talking about. I have no connection.
Okay.
Mr. Larson, do you have anything to add to the conversation that they were just having?
Nope. I think everything is valid information.
Okay. Our next topic of the night is diversity. We're going to start off with Mr. Larson for this topic. What steps will you take to promote diversity at UCLA?
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't actually know what diversity means. I am going to take a guess, but I believe we want to have better understanding of things that affect student to student. Some people struggle more, some people don't. I want to see everyone's opinions be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. To explain diversity a little bit more, if you want to change your answer, diversity could be people's backgrounds being different, people's skin colors being different, religion, all that combining together. That's what I wanted to ask about, how you're going to promote like differences and promote like change and be like create progress for the university.
I feel like, okay, I feel like no matter where you are from, no matter what skin color, no matter what you think, everybody deserves to be heard.
That was a very good response, Mr. Larson. This is for Mr. Eichmann. Minorities are very common to see at UCLA. Mr. Eichmann, how will you represent the needs of minority students at the university?
So I want to thank you for asking me this question. There has been a lot of talk about what my answer would be tonight about this question, actually. I know that there are a lot of people, different people at UCLA who come from different backgrounds, who have different skin colors. And I think that we should just send
Right?
and when we do, I'm sorry, is my mic cut out? I'm sorry. Did you
It
hear what
did.
I said?
It cut
Oh,
out.
I apologize. I think we should send them somewhere else. I think we should give them free scholarships to any college that they want to go to. But in order to ensure that everybody gets along, I think we should send them somewhere else instead of our current college. So as I said, give them scholarships, send them to different colleges so they do not have to deal with people who are different than them, and ensure that there are no conflicts between students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eichmann. All right. Mr. Chang-Shi, how do you think your cultural upbringing will influence your presidency if you are elected?
Well, like I said, I'm a minority in the United States. There might be over 2 billion Chinese people, so by and large, we are not we are majority in the world, but in United States, we are still minority. I believe that the strong education and discipline of Chinese upbringing will help me garner more support, and I will be very dedicated to protecting all students. I don't believe that we should send other students away. Only student who should not be able to go to UCLA is Japanese. Japanese people are always trying to invade somewhere that is not theirs. They're always trying to invade China. You look at the history, very, very messy. But by and large, we should allow all types of people, no matter their class or background. And this is something where me and Mr. Ichbin, we differ. So, like I said, my cultural heritage only plays into the fact that I think I have a more rigorous education and ability to focus and get hard decisions done than my other candidates.
Okay, this next question is for Mr. Larson. What is your stance on multi-gender bathrooms taking over the campus?
Yes. Very good question. I believe that, like I said, there should be one all gender restroom next to a male and female restroom. So I believe that there should be one of everything.
If anyone disagrees with Mr. Larson, please share your opinions now.
I'd like to share my opinion on this. I don't think that there should be necessarily different bathrooms for different genders, but what I do think is there should be different bathrooms for different types of people. I will get into that a little bit later, but I do agree in theory with Daniel Larson's approach to the bathroom issue at UCLA. Thank you.
What is a all gender bathroom? People who do not follow why are we accommodating for people with a mental disability? That's all I'm asking.
Mr. Larson, would you like to explain what an all-gender bathroom is to Mr. Chi?
So, yes, it is somebody. Yeah, I'm not. It is somebody that I hope I'm getting this correct, but it is somebody that is born half male, half female. So, like, their body is like a male, their genitalia is a female, or somebody has gone through surgery to do so, which I also agree with everyone else's stance. That can go into being so many different things, right? So it completely, there will be more rules and more coverage that I will have to cover later on in the debate.
All right, thank you, Mr. Larson. Does anyone want to respond to anything he said?
I was just confused. We don't have this back in my country. Mr. Moderator, could we take a 5-minute break? I have plans I need to attend to very quickly.
Yes, we are going to be doing a 5-minute break right about now, actually. I can put you guys into breakout rooms if you'd like, if you want to meet with your campaign staff. I could do that now.
Yes, please.
Mr. Larson, there is a button that you can click accept to join your breakout room with Mr. Hunter.
Wow, that was
Oh my God.
good. So he really thinks people are born like with male and female genitalia?
Really?
Wow. That's interesting.
Yo, can they hear us in here? Are they coming back right now?
Within 60 seconds.
All right. And then are we on are you on the key pillars of UCLA?
Yep.
Sweet.
Why is it 60 seconds?
Probably by default.
Only
Oh,
option.
okay.
All right, 25 seconds. All right, thank you guys for all coming back to the main room. We're going to resume with the diversity section. One of the key pillars of UCLA is to be inclusive. How will you do this on campus and on the online community? This is an open question for all three candidates to answer.
Sorry, can you say that again? I was just joining.
Sure. One of the key pillars of UCLA is to be inclusive. How will you do this at the UCLA campus and the UCLA online campus?
Whew, okay. So, first of all, I want to say that it's extremely, extremely difficult to be an international student and still go to like in-person campus and off campus. I believe that to be able to successfully run and work in student government, you need to be able to not only be available for online campus, but you need to also be on in person, like on campus in UCLA. I have been in Los Angeles. I know the UCLA campus. I was born in Lancaster, California. So I have no problem coming out to the campus. I have no problem traveling. I believe it is extremely difficult to get a passport, and I am curious to hear from the other participants how they will be able to help with in-person, on-campus assistance, considering that they are online in another country. And I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not trying to frame or cause issues with, like I said, where you're from, color, the countries where you're from, matter of opinion. I am just curious how you will be able to help on campus. Help on campus, excuse me. Considering you all are, you might get busy sometimes. You might be in another country. And I feel like you have to be able to be there when you need to
All
be
right.
there.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. We're going to give the candidates a quick chance to respond to everything you just said, because I think you called both of them out. So let's hear what they have to say. Let's go with Mr. Chi.
Well, I don't know what Daniel thinks I am. I'm in California. My understanding is you're in Colorado. So I can help out on the campus, but can you? Most international students are on campus. So I don't understand the question because you it seemed like you think we are all in a different country. Not true.
Very valid, and he does have a point.
So I just want to say that yes, I'm also in California, in the dormitory, and I do not believe in inclusivity. Thank you.
So you're running more of like an exclusivity campaign instead of the opposite?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify for the record. All right, we're going to move on to our next subject of the night, academics. Starting off with Mr. Changxi. Through your campaign slogan, study or die, how do you plan to make sure students that they are more academically successful?
Yes, thank you. Great question. We need to threaten them with the violence. They're not going to study. They want to take a drug and have a sexual intercourse instead of doing what the university dare to do, which is get degree. I don't think you should be paying for classes if you're not going to study. So I don't mean real death. I mean maybe we physically have a punishment for a bad grade, but no, we're not going to kill them. We just want the more academic rigorous students. I think the big misconception. This is more like a famous American slogan: "Give me liberty or give me death." You know, it more like call for freedom than call for killing. So in same regard, I just want the student to do better academically.
Sorry, Vivek. I'm just going to ask a quick follow-up question.
Go ahead. Go
Larson,
ahead.
do you have anything to say to Mr. Chang's slogan, study or die?
Mr. Rawson.
Yes. My only question that I have is when you mean virus, what are you talking about? Like what type of virus?
I said the virus, not the virus.
I believe that's a word that Changxi was looking for is a violence, like punching or when you have a violent encounter with somebody. But if you're talking about the virus that Changxi and his family is responsible for, that would be COVID-19. Thank you.
Again, these are slanderous and factually wrong. These the same untrue and that these have no foundation. These just slanderous because my family involved with the government. There's no actual truth behind these statements. Just like I don't think Mr. Rawson would appreciate you bringing up a pornographic background, or we mentioned you direct descendant to Adolf Hitler. It just it is it is a bad and dishonest thing to say.
These connections that you have with me between Adolf Hitler and me is incorrect. He is only my second great grandfather. That's my only connection to him. I am not a direct descendant of him, so I don't know why you keep making propaganda. But when I look at your tree, your family tree, that was leaked by the German government, it says that you are direct descendants of a famous doctor who released COVID-19. Also, since I would talk about Shang-Chi, I also want to talk about Mr. Larson, okay? Something that has come up to us regarding his behavior and something I've agreed with Mr. Larson on many topics regarding stuff at UCLA. But what I cannot understand is that there have recently been pictures that have been leaked of Daniel Larson naked. What is going on and how did this happen? This is not somebody that can represent our school.
Yes, we also have a interesting proof. First of all, we have a family tree from Mr. Ichbin. Second, the cousin. This is not true. You notice. You are first cousin. And secondly, we also have a photo of Mr. Rawson. Very, very interesting.
Let's give Mr. Larson a chance to respond here. I'm going to ask the other candidates to mute. And Mr. Larson, you may speak for however long you want.
First of all, let me say that everything that they are saying is valid and I completely understand. One thing I will say is I am not the one who leaked those nude photos. I was taken pictures of behind my back without me knowing, and they were leaked to the media by some person that I don't even know. There was a window in the bathroom and somebody was outside at my house, and somebody took a flippin' picture and leaked it onto the internet. And I have been fighting to try to get that taken off the internet, and I completely agree that that is not okay.
We would like to Changji, if you like to go.
Yes. First of all, we received a report. We have no proof that Mr. Larson graduated high school. Is he really qualified to run the university? We have no tangible proof. And secondary, I don't know if these photos don't look like they were taken from outside. They look like they were taken from Mr. Larson himself. Especially one very interesting video
Are you with
taken by Mr. Larson himself.
Yes, it has come to the attention of the German peoples that Mr. Larson has put a toothbrush in his ass. Would he like or live videos that was taken by himself? Is this somebody that we want to have represent our college? I would like to hear Mr. Larson speak about his in regards to this incident regarding a toothbrush that he's used.
All right, Mr. Larson, please address what they have to say.
So, first off, my old phone from 2020 got stolen by somebody while I was in public. And the person that stole my phone, my old phone, leaked all of my camera footage and without permission. So, in other words, it was never supposed to be public, and it was never supposed to even be on the internet to begin with.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Who is a new joinee? Who is James Webb? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to be removing Mr. James Webb from the conversation.
We have a security threat. We need to remove James Webb.
Yes, he's currently being removed from the call.
Get this random out of here. My campaign,
Okay.
my president is very important. I can't have anything happen.
All right, now, Mr. Vivek, are you ready to ask the next question?
I am, and this question is specifically to Mr. Larson. How will you work to increase accessibility to resources for students who face financial challenges?
I believe that we should have work opportunities for pay on campus. So for people who struggle with being able to afford college, I believe that we need to have work and opportunities for them to be able to pay for college.
Okay, building off of that with work, how do you feel about the current unemployment situation, especially here in LA?
I believe that people are dumb, people are stupid, and they don't want to do work. And so my way to fix that is to have forced work. So for people that are willing to choose our program, they will need to work or they will be kicked from the university and they will not be able to pay for their degree.
One question, Mr. Larson. Do you currently work yourself?
I am self-employed and I do make a reasonable amount of income.
Very interesting.
Mr. Larson, I would like to say, are you self-employed in the fact that you own your own business, or do you continue to make pornographic videos of shoving toothbrushes?
I own my own business.
Okay, very
What
good.
business do you own?
I am a singer, songwriter, and a politician, local politician in Denver, Colorado.
You say a local politician. What office do you hold? You're muted, Mr. Larson.
I have my own company, and I am, as of right now, a public speaker.
Okay, so you would be more like a political activist, not a politician himself who has a office that he was elected to.
I do have my own office. I do it all through my own house or library. But you are correct. I am running in the next, not this election, but next election for Colorado mayor.
Well, thank you.
Colorado governor or Denver mayor?
Denver mayor, sorry.
Okay, thank you for clarification.
All right, so we're going to move on to another question now. So these questions are submissions from your fellow peers, fellow teachers, and other politicians that are taking a look at this debate. It's been in the news now. I don't know if you guys saw some newspaper articles about this debate, but we actually had a forum open for people to ask questions to us. So our first question is a question for all candidates. There are a lot of complex issues in California, one of them being the age of consent. What do you think should be the proper age of consent at UCLA? Mr. Larson, would you like to start us out?
So that is a very, very complicated topic. First of all, people that go to UCLA, I think is 18 on up. I am not quite sure. I would have to look at those numbers. But I believe that if you are mature enough to go to a university, then you are mature enough to AKA have sex. Now, I do believe that with that it does get more complicated than just that. I do believe that condoms are a must on university campus, and I do believe that you shouldn't even really do sex on university campus. I believe that everything should be done in a restroom, an all gender restroom, or not even on campus at all.
That is very informative information. Good to know that you think that sex on campus should only happen in all gender restrooms or off campus, and that condoms should be mandatory for all students to carry on their persons. Would anyone else, Mr. Chang or Mr. Eichmann, care to share the age of consent that you believe in?
This do not apply to academics, so I don't care.
This topic is very unimportant to me, and I do not think I agree with Shang-Chi when it comes to this matter.
All right. Well, thank you guys for answering the question. Building off of what Mr. Larson said, we do offer a program for genius kids that are under age 17 at UCLA University. So there are students that are younger than 18 at UCLA. But yeah, we're going to move into the next question. Vivek, would you like to ask?
Yeah, were you gonna do the race or gender one or no? Or did you already do
Oh
that?
yeah. Yep. All right. So our next question for Mr. Larson, what is more important to you, race or gender?
I feel like that is an invalid answer, and I support both.
Mr. Larson, what are your thoughts? This is for Mr. Eichmann. What are your thoughts on your home country of Germany planning to colonize the planet of Mars? Apologies for that.
Mr. Eichmann?
I apologize. I want to thank you for asking this question. In regards to taking over,
Muted.
I'm having problems with my mic. I'm sorry. When it comes to taking over Mars, the plan for Germany to take over Mars is very important, because when it comes to the space program inside of UCLA, it is very important to us to get to Mars before Elon Musk, before a lot of the rich people, such as NASA. It's very important for us to go to Mars and colonize it, so we can put camps and a lot of other things where people can participate voluntarily in forced labor. I want to thank you.
All right. So we're going to move on to another question now. What are your opinions on public nudity? UCLA currently does offer certain buildings on campus where you can be publicly nude. What are your guys' opinions on that rule?
Is it disgusting?
I would need more information. I feel like, once again, it is a very controversial topic, and without the right information, I don't have an answer.
I personally think that the only buildings on campus that should allow public nudity are the one with the college freshmen. Thank you.
Okay, the next question is for Mr. Larson. How will you solve the homeless crisis in LA?
Well, after me being in LA myself one time, several times actually, 100 times, a billion times, but I can say that the homeless problem is massive. I do believe that it is drug affiliated, and I do support shelters, and I support higher security. So one thing that I would do is I would have a designated location on campus. So like a gymnasium or a certain location that we can help the homeless. I do believe that there needs to be a time limit, like you can stay a week or 2 weeks. And if you can't get your life back on track, once again, kind of like I said earlier with forced labor for employment, then I do believe that we can kick them from the program. I do believe that UCLA needs to help out with the community. So I would like to see more community academics as well.
All right. I do have a quick question. Just give me a number. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. What should be the legal drinking age on campus? I'm going to ask all three of you and just give me a number. Mr. Larson first.
15.
Mr. Shi next.
18.
And Mr. Eichmann.
21.
Okay, thank you for answering that. And Vivek, you can ask the next question.
Yeah, so this is an open-ended question for everyone. What are your thoughts on fentanyl?
I think it over dramatic. American very over dramatic about fentanyl. They try to blame it China, but once again, this is just a racist accusation.
Mr. Larson, do you have any opinion on fentanyl and the issues going on, especially in our home state of California?
So, yeah. So, first of all, I don't want to say anything on where it comes from. Like, I don't want to go deep into that because I mean, I've heard many different things, okay? What I will say is I think that it should be banned from the university. I feel like all drugs should be banned from the university. And only if it comes down to like nicotine or something, it has to be vape. It can't be cigarettes. I think cigarettes should be banned as well. I do believe that drugs are the number one cause to homelessness.
All
May
right.
I ask what is your stance on marijuana?
I support marijuana. I once again I believe that I believe that cigarettes and like certain drugs are just easy to start fires with. Like cigarette, people throw them on the ground. With vape pens, at least you still get the nicotine.
All right, Mr.
But
Larson, do you mind if I interrupt you real quick?
yeah,
We're gonna do a quick intermission. We're gonna allow everyone to take a quick break, and then we're gonna reconvene. We only have a couple more questions left, but we're gonna give you more time to talk to your campaign staff or your vice president, and we will reconvene in a little bit. Okay. Does that sound good with everyone? I'm gonna send everyone into breakout rooms again, and then I will bring you back shortly. So when the link to the breakout room pops up, feel free to join. We only have a couple questions left, so just prepare for the next couple questions and get a closing speech ready.
Mr. Clark, you need to go to your breakout room.
He might be dealing with the customer.
Fuck. And Dana's just alone in there.
Oh boy.
Dude, 15 is crazy.
I thought the meeting would have ended, but
Well, that's why I was going for an intermission, so
Yeah, but the timer ran out and it
Damn it.
didn't end. So I guess I didn't know that was a pro feature. It just keeps going.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I wasn't
All
sure.
right.
All right, Mr. Larson and everyone else, welcome back. It was just a quick break right there. And just to give you guys a little breather, because I know we've been going pretty much nonstop for a while now. But we're going to be moving on to some other questions. And since we are pretty close to wrapping up the debate, feel free to say anything you want about your opponents now, because we are in the end game. But we're going to start out with a question about what are your opinions on the mainstream media? It's an open question, so feel free to unmute to start off.
I believe that the mainstream media is the number one real information you can get, more than the TV and more than the news.
Would anyone else like to follow up on Mr. Larson's answer or refute it?
Mainstream media very slanderous. Like an article posted in this chat by Chancellor Gene Brock about Wuhan. That I'm reading an article from what is this, a Fox News? It say my family have involvement in the Wuhan. Okay, so basically, yes, my family did have involvement in a Wuhan lab, but it was not involvement like alleged in article. So sometimes article media are very tricky, right? Not always telling the truth. But when do we know when they're telling the truth and when it is fibbing? That is a fine line we have to walk.
Thank you, Mr. Shi. Yeah, for those who are looking to see what he mentioned, there is an article in the chat, so you can see what he was referring to, where it says Chang Shi's name on there in his relation to China and COVID-19. But Mr. Vivek, you can ask the next question whenever you're ready.
Yep, which is, do you support the anti-circumcision movement?
This is also an open question, so all three of you can feel free to unmute and answer.
So I will quickly give my opinion on this. I believe those who circumcise themselves are dirty and they do not belong. So I believe that I fully support the anti-circumcision movement. Thank you.
Mr. Larson, what about you? Do you have an opinion on the anti-circumcision movement?
I agree with the previous.
Okay. All right, so we're going to be moving on to another question. Does anyone here feel like the Chinese government is gang stalking you? If so, feel free to explain, give examples, and dive deep into this.
Yes, I do. There has been a black Nissan Altima, and I do have pictures of it. I did leak them to the internet. For the past close to 6 months, following me to every single location I have been going to, not just one. And I have actual pictures of the vehicle, and the license plate is actually where the license plate should be, there is none on the license plate. So, in other words, there is no license plate on the vehicle.
How do you know this is a car from China?
I don't. but I do have a gang stalking or some other issue going on. I do think it is a government vehicle, but once again, I cannot identify.
Well, Mr. Santos, I believe this is a very loaded question. Why is a Chinese government spying? America internationally known for spying with the CIA. So I don't believe that it is fair to pin this all on a Chinese government, you know? I feel like that the typical American answer, oh, something goes wrong. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, the China did this, you know? Maybe they are following Mr. Ross, and maybe they're not. Who are we to know until he see ethnicity of a driver?
You are 100% right, and I agree. Without the right identification, there is no way on knowing.
Yes,
So
thank you, Mr. Rosson.
usually a good way to tell if the Chinese government is after you is if there's drones in the area. So recently in the UCLA campus, we've been having a lot of drone sightings and drone spottings following students around. Has anyone seen drones in their area? And if so, it could mean the Chinese are following you.
Well, this
I
one, sorry,
I
Mr.
have.
Rosson, go ahead.
I have. And believe it or not, I actually took a picture of the drone, and it did have where it said made in China on it, but that could once again mean anything. I mean, here in America, we can buy almost anything in China if you think about it. Most of our stuff that we buy in America comes from China. And that's not to blame China. China is a massive economic industry as a country. So they have a lot of impact on the US. And anybody can go online and just buy a drone. So, in other words, I don't have an answer other than yes, I have been followed by a drone that says made in China.
Well, listen. Just because I have a connection to Chinese government and the drone says made in China, and you be gang stalked, I think these are causation, no correlation. So uh, without the proof, I don't believe that I am at fault. But I think that it'd be wise to not offend the great nation of China, because it is very powerful. Many spy, many drone, many spy balloons. But I'm not saying in this instance that they're the ones following Mr. Rosson. They could be, but I'm not saying they are.
All right, thank you guys for sharing. Looks like Mr. Changxi is not ruling out the possibility that it's China, but he's also not saying it is. So it's pretty much up in the air to whatever Mr. Larson thinks. And Mr. Vivek, would you like to ask the next question?
Yeah, so for this next question, I'm sure you've been asked it before, but we just want straight honesty. What do you genuinely believe your weaknesses are?
I don't believe I have any weaknesses. I can face my greatest fear.
And what is your greatest fear, Mr. Larson?
Getting eaten by butterflies.
Yes, I know the butterflies are sometimes pretty aggressive towards humans. Mr. Shi or Eichmann, would you like to share your weakness real quick?
I have no weakness.
I do have one weakness, and that is it's very difficult for me to share. I am scared of birds. Birds scare me because they look like a certain type of people. And I just do not like birds. Thank you.
All right, thank you for everyone for sharing their weaknesses. We have the final question of the night. Do you believe in the death penalty for pedophiles? Let's start off with Mr. Larson again.
I feel like that is a very complicated question. Whew, I would say yes. I do believe in the death penalty. And I believe that it does go a lot deeper than just because the thing with the death penalty is I believe that you have to take a life to have your life taken, if that makes sense. So, in other words, I do believe in a extreme an extreme criminal prison sentence. But I do believe that the death penalty should only happen if you take somebody's life.
Yeah, I think we all can agree here that pedophiles are criminals and should have very harsh consequences. Would anyone else want to answer the last question I asked?
It may be a forced castration, but I don't know about the death. Seems a little harsh, no?
All right, looks like I just got a message from Mr. Clark Hunter. He has one thing to bring up real quick.
Mr. Clark Hunter, who's there?
Hello, Clark. If Clark does not answer, I may have to remove him from the call for being a distraction and a troll towards the moderators, which could negatively harm his campaign.
I would say because me and my candidate are super anti-drug, and I believe that some of these people that are running are not clean as they say they are. I think everyone should be drug tested first thing Friday morning tomorrow.
I have nothing to hide. I will agree to a urine test.
I think if we're going to do a drug test, I think that there should be also a mandatory release of all social medias. So showing like photos, videos that you've watched, websites that you visited. If we are going to take drug tests, I think that it is important for all of our backgrounds to be exposed and not just drugs. And I know that I'm clean, but other people might not be when it comes to things more than that.
It seems you're targeting my president because, yes, he has a previous social media accounts because he is a celebrity. And although the other two candidates, so I don't know how to say your name, you guys probably don't have as much information out there about you. So it almost seems like you're targeting Mr. Larson by saying that every social media should be exposed.
Well, I think that goes for everyone and not just Mr. Larson.
All right, well, that concludes our debate session. I would like now everyone to message me in the chat. You can select it so that you can only message certain people. So just choose my name with your vote, and Vivek and I will tally up the votes, and we will announce the top 2 candidates who will be moving on to tomorrow. So just message me who you're going to vote for, and then we can we'll tally those up. So one of you will be not on the ballot for tomorrow. All right, looks like some of the votes are coming in right now. All right, it looks like all members who are currently in the call have voted. Our top 2 candidates for tomorrow's main election are, can I get a drum roll, please? Would anyone like to unmute and all right, thank you, Mr. Larson, for that, and Mr. Ryan. The results are Mr. Daniel Larson and Mr. Chang Shi moving on to tomorrow's election. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to the rest of the election.
All right. I'm going to give you guys a quick opportunity to give a final closing speech for tomorrow's election. We're going to start off with Mr. Daniel Larson of what you want to tell voters why they should vote for you tomorrow.
Vote for me tomorrow because it's going down.
And Mr. Chang Shi.
Yes, thank you for a preliminary vote. Very excited to continue campaign. Please vote for me. We make academic excellency and strong unification of campus at the University of California, Los Angeles. Very exciting.
So thank you everyone
Thank you.
for attending this, and best of luck to both candidates with the election tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Santos, Mr. Ramaswamy. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you so much, and please vote. See you
Yes.
on the flip side.